What's going on, everybody? Gunnar here. Right now I'm Riverside. I'm about to go swing some smallmouth with my St. Croix Imperial switch here. And I just wanted to really quick do a full leader build start to finish to kind of complement the masterclass video on leaders that turn over flies. So a few things. First, my butt material, the leader. It's going to be a 70% reduction from my fly line, right? That's something I mentioned, that 70% reduction as you go down from your fly line to your butt, to your mid-body, to your kind of tippet section, or like, you know, the full extent of that tapered leader as you do your step downs to help properly transfer that energy. So I have 10 foot of T8 sink tip material. It's got a 20-pound core. It's not super beefy, and because I'm fishing smallmouth, that's going to allow me to use a 20-pound butt section. That's going to be about a 70% reduction. That's going to help transfer that energy. Now this has a welded loop in it. If you don't have a welded loop at the end of your fly line, you use something called a nail knot, and you can use something called a nail knot tool. These are extremely valuable and something you should be well versed at, and you would probably replace that nail knot that would have a terminal connection, which is just a perfection loop, basically every other year, every other season. But this has a welded loop in it, so I'm going to just do a perfection loop for my butt material and get going. Now that butt material should be the longest section, and I'm going to maybe do like a 5-foot leader here. So if I did 3 foot of this, I'm going to do 3 step downs. We'll go like 20, 16, 12. That'd be a pretty good ratio, or 20, 16, 10. That way we have our 70% reduction. So I'll go like 3 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, or maybe I'll go 2.5, 1.5, 1, something like that for my length ratios. So I got my 20-pound. Throw a perfection loop in that. Now when you do your loop-to-loops, you pass the fly line through the perfection loop, then you take your tag end and it goes through the loop of the fly line. And that's how they seat properly together so that you don't have any kink in that loop-to-loop connection. I'm not going to show you guys the knots. You can just Google these, but it's a perfection loop. Those are loop-to-looped. We'll go 2.5 feet here. Jump into some 16-pound. In these smaller pound tests, I usually do a 4-turn double uni knot. If I get into like 30-pound, I'll only do 3 turns on it, but I'll do a 4-turn double uni. And the nice thing about the double uni, you just saw that, I can seat the knot against my teeth, adding back pressure, so the knots are already formed, perfectly formed. And then when you get that wet, so there's some slippage on there, they seat perfectly together, with no chance of some increased friction or the knots not forming properly as they slip together. So we got our 2.5. We'll go maybe about 1.5. And today I'm gonna finish that with 12, just because I'm actually gonna strip some pretty big flies, and I'm just gonna do a double uni again. Again, seating that uni knot against my teeth. I'll show you what that looks like. So you got a 4-turn uni. As that begins to form, I put this knot, my teeth go right here on this side of my mouth so that I can pull that knot against my teeth. So they form perfectly every time. And then I'm going to come in to about 1 foot. That'll be our 5.5-foot leader for a sink tip, which is about mid-length. And this is going to be that Homer Rhodes perfection loop that I showed you guys when I was down in Mexico. So that is a full leader build. Ended up being about 6 feet, about 1/2 foot or a foot longer than what I hoped for, but it's not too bad. So our butt section makes up probably 50% or more of that leader build. So that 20-pound, which is a 70% reduction coming from your fly line, is about 50% of that leader. And then we have about a 30%, and then we have about 20%. So those are the kind of proportions I use for building a handmade tapered leader for streamer fishing that's going to dump energy and transfer and turn over a big fly. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh man, that eat was savage, just savagery. I landed that swim bait fly literally an inch from those rocks, and there was a foot-long weight coming after that thing, man. Oh, what a freaking brute, buddy. What a brute. Right on the swim bait hook, right in the tongue. On the switch. Woo! Weedless perfection, man. So this year's kind of been a drought year for us, and I'm fishing out here with a buddy, and we're walking upstream, and I've never once fished any of this because it's all usually too deep or too slow or hard to wade in. And right now with summer lows, I'm just exploring. I'm just kind of walking around, and what was interesting is I was walking up this whole stretch, and I spooked two smallmouth, and they were just swimming away from me, and they weren't very big. And they kept going to the other side of the river, and I could see the other side was deeper, so I started fan casting over there, and as soon as I got to that rock ledge, popped a big one. And now, every time I fish this river, if it's shallow enough to wade over here, I just learned a new spot. So take advantage of low water. Walk around. Don't be afraid to push fish out or scare them. This is the time to explore and learn what's what.